Fire. We're learning about fire. Our Gemara Shir is dealing now with what happens when Chas v'Shalom fire breaks in Shabbos and there's a Sefer Torah in danger. And what do you do? So apparently there are kulos. You're allowed to take the Sefer Torah with a bag, as the Mishnah says in Shabbos Daf Kuf Zayin Omud Beis. We are now in Daf Kuf Yud Zayin. We're just reading the Mishnah to, give us the background information. Basically, you're allowed to save a Sefer Torah on Shabbos, even in the price of carrying muktzah with it sometimes. And now we're concentrating on the second halacha, the second kula of saving a Sefer Torah from burning, and that is lahichan metzilin oison. Where are you allowed to save the Sefer Torah? Same thing about tefillin. Where are you allowed to save the holy items? Tishmishi kedusha. Where are you supposed to move? Where are you allowed to move them to? There is no Eiruv, right? This is an Eiruv-less situation. And in Rashus HaYochid, in a private domain, a shul, a house, whatever, place surrounded with walls, then the Sefer Torah is there. Where are you allowed to take it to? Right? So now the Tanakama says, Lemovoi she'enoi mefulosh, ben beser omer af lemefulosh. The Tanakama says you're allowed to take it from your Rashus HaYochid into a Mavoi. Mavoi is basically a street which has at least two lines of houses on both sides, and that Mavoi is Eino Mefulosh. It's not a through and through street. The street is not, open on both sides. Meaning, I would say it means it's a dead end street. So it seems like. B'mesera mafla mefulosh. B'mesera says no. B'mesera says they allow you to take a Sefer Torah because there's a kula here. Sefer Torah you're allowed to take from Rashus HaYochid to a Rashus which is problematic, and that is Mefulash, even to a Mavoi, a street which is open on both ends, so that even there you're allowed to put the Sefer Torah. Yeah, there. Now Mavoi and Mefulash is not a Rashus HaRabim D'Oraisa. The truth is, there's no reason to waste time in explaining what is Mefulash and Mefulash, because the Gemara will do the job for us. This year is La'ilu Nishmas, my father, Menachem ben Akiva, Kufi Yadanu Madalef, Shabbos. Stay with us. We are in the two dots, and this year is for the Atzlacha, Atzola, all the Chayalim, everybody that's in captivity should come back very, very, very soon. Hashem should save them. Now, so let's just remember one thing. We say that according to Tanakama, you're allowed to take it to a place which is Einoi Mefulash. Create two columns in your mind. I actually wanted to make a chart, but I trust in your, visual imagination. Tanakama says Einoi Mefulash. Tanakama is always more machmir. Let's just put it this way. Vemesera always allows you one step more, right? That's the rule. We're going to have now three possible explanations to what's Mefulash or Einoi Mefulash. I told you in the Mishnah the Hebrew translation. Mefulosh means through and through. And mefulosh means, cul-de-sac, it's a dead end. That's the translation, right? Oh, but it does mean that is the halacha. That means it's halachic translation. Heichidami mefulosh, heichidami she'enu mefulosh. That's the $1 million question. Heichidami, what do you call? What's the situation? What's the reality of mefulosh? What's the reality of enu mefulosh? That's a question. Amar Rav Chizda, says Rav Chizda as follows: Sholosh mechitzois v'shnei lechayayin zeu mova she'enu mefulash. Gimel mechitzos v'lechi echad zeu mova ha'mefulash. Let's just translate and explain. Which means, Sholosh mechitzos, we're talking here about a street. According to both opinions, it's a street that is surrounded by three walls. Meaning, it's not a chotzer which is let's say 4x4, 10x10, symmetrically equal. It's a street. It's narrow and longer. Yeah, there are two rows of houses on both sides, and there is another wall in one side. Meaning, according to both opinions, it's a dead end street, which means that it's basically an area surrounded by three walls. It's surrounded by three walls, which, according to some, would be possibly Rashus HaYochid. Three walls. There's a question if you need three or four, actually. So now three mechitzas you have really on all sides. Okay. Now what happens in the one opening? That street is open to a bigger street. So far, so good. Now, we all know, I assume we all know. The Gemara in Eiruvin, the entire first part of Eiruvin, possibly our next Masechta, I don't know, is about the fact that once Chachamim allow you to be to move from your own house to the small street called Movui, to the dead end street, yeah, you're allowed to move because you did Erev Chatzeros, Shitufei Mevuos, you share the bread and all that, right? So now it looks as if this street, which is really Reshus HaYochid, feels like it's a street. So then you may come and move from there to the real big street. So what did Chachamim say? Even if you don't get the whole picture, one thing is clear. You have to make clear demarcation, yeah, either symbolic or even more, of either lechi, we're going actually to see now. You have to make lechi and or koiro to make a distinction, to make some kind of symbolic, or some say it's more than symbolic, it's actually a real thing, to stop and interrupt between the mavui, the small mavui, which is not a real Rishut Rabim, obviously, into the real Rishut Rabim, so you don't move between them. What do? First, we're just talking the terminology, dictionary, and then we'll implement it into here. Lechi. Lechi is a side pole. Yeah, it's like a stick, a pole, a column on the side that was posted there on purpose, was located there for halachic reasons, right? Now, and a koiro is a beam on top. When people see the lechi and or, as we're going to see, the koiro, they say, oh, that's a siman. I can see that here's a lechi over here, a koiro above, then I know this is a gvul. This is a border between the mavui and the Reshus HaRabim, right? However, what I said is debatable. Some say the lechi actually is not just this symbol. Lechi serves as a wall. Although it's just a lechi of, I don't know how much you need, the tefach or three. Although the tefach, imagine yourself like a beam, like sukkah, you have like a beam on the side. Even though just one beam, it doesn't really close the whole area. Halachically, if it serves as the fourth wall, right, what we're talking about, 1, 2, 3. We are really in a long street with, in the back of the street, it's closed, right? Long, 3 sides, surrounded on 3 sides. The opening, if you have a lechi on the side, it is possibly not just considered as a symbol, it's really closing it to be the fourth wall. Because some say you may need 4 walls, but that fourth wall is enough. So now, I'm repeating now everything. Omar of Chizda. Sholosh mechitzas v'shnei l'chayim. Let's say you have 3 mechitzas, 1, 2 long rows of houses, a third wall in the back, and what happens in the front? That's the hot spot. That's interesting place. That is there. You have shnei l'chayim. It has 2 beams, 1 on each side of the entrance to the street. I'm just translating now. That is a mavui which is not open. That mavui is halachically mehadrin min mehadrin. It's a good place, according to Rashi. Yeah? Now, gimel mechitzas v'lechi echad, right? Now, yeah, what did we say? The second opinion, what did he say? You always need less. You require less. Even 3 mechitzas v'lechi echad, if you have 3 mechitzas and 1 beam instead of 2 in the opening, ze mavui hamefulash. That's a mavui that's called open. So the difference between open and not open means the one with the 2 beams is kosher lemehadrin, according to Rashi. There's other Rishon, I'm not going there. And the one which is, because basically, what did Ben Becerra say? Ben Becerra say, I allow you a little bit more than Chachamim. Ben Becerra is always Chachamim plus a little bit of a kula. One level more lakula. And I call that mefulash. What's mefulash? The one of the 2 beams is missing. And I, Ben Becerra, I allow you to carry the Sefer Torah into there. Now, okay, who says, in other words, it sounds like, and it's true according to Rashi, that if you have 3 walls on 3 sides, and you have 2 beams, 2 l'chayim, that's good, that's perfect. That's the way it should be. And Ben Becerra says, okay, it's a Sefer Torah, I allow you 1 level less. Who believes that you need shtei l'chayim? Let's see. V'talvayu. Both Tanakama and Ben Becerra, they're talking in the same terms. They're arguing levels, but they're not talking like, deaf people talking to each other. They're talking in the same term. Talvayu libador belezer. Both Tanakama and Ben Becerra, they both follow the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer in Maseches Eruvin in the second Mishnah of Eruvin. The Tanan. We're about to read now the second Mishnah of Maseches Eruvin, a part of it. Hechsher Movui. How do you kosherize a Movui? You have a Movui, which we already know what Movui is. Movui is always like a smaller street open to a big street. How do you make a Movui kosher? Meaning, how do you make the Movui, okay, to move inside, knowing that I'm secure because I will not by mistake cross the border to real Rosh Hashanah. What makes Movui kosher and closed enough, fenced off enough from it and Rosh Hashanah? You need safe borders in halacha. The Shammai lechi vekoiro. The Shammai say you need both lechi and the koiro. The Shammai say you need a lechi on the side, a beam on the side, and a koiro on top. They're machmir that you need both. You need both lechi and koiro, right? In order
to be kosher.
To be kosher, you need one beam on the side, one koiro on top. I read the Mishnah with the Meforshim by preparing this, and there are reasons for B'Shamai, B'Sil, and B'Lezer. I'm not going there right now because it's not so necessary for our understanding. I don't want to confuse you. Okay, lechi v'koiro. B'Sil oimrim oy lechi oy koiro. B'Sil say either or, either lechi, which is the top, right, the top beam. Lechi is the side. Thank you. Oh, I apologize. I wish I had time to edit the video, but I don't. So I'll just apologize to our viewers at home. Either
in English, it's posted lintel construction.
Right, but it's not a whole lintel, just one side.
One side.
It's one beam. Either lechi on the side or koiro to the top beam. Right now, there I will tell you about B'Silel. Lechi is the wall, is the beginning of the wall. Koiro is not a wall; it's just a symbolic thing. So just remember, okay, remember there's a koiro. Remember the Mishnah beginning of Eruvin? That's why koiro is like sukkah. It can be 20 amas high because you have to see it. There's all many comparisons. Something you have to see. You see, oh, here's a koiro. Every child knows. The teacher them in cheder, the age of 3. When you see a koiro, stop right there. Don't carry your bimba, your whatever that is. That's B'Silel. Oh, here comes the star of the show. Abelezer oimer shnei lechayim. Abelezer says no. Abelezer really is a B'Shamai follower. But the Abelezer was the B'Shamai man. Abelezer says, I'm like B'Shamai, but I learned you need to be more machmir, and you need 2 lechayim. So now what? Now everything is good. Let's go back to the original pshat of Rav Chizda. Now everything is good. Let's learn it outside, and then we'll see Tosfos. You happy? We're going to see Tosfos, Rabbi Gitztin. So Shnei L'Chayim, which means we, from some reason, Tosfos will tell us why. Out of all 3 opinions, with Shammai, B'Sil, and Rabbi Lezer, we choose Rabbi Lezer. Interesting. And we want to make everybody here in our Mishnah, but B'Ser Chachamim, work within the terms of Rabbi Lezer. Okay. And we say like this. Chachamim say, Mavui she'enu mefulash, meaning a Mavui that has everything you need. You have 3 walls on all sides, and 2 l'chayim, buba, perfect. Then you can move your Sefer Torah. Right? Interesting. Okay, there's a question here. It doesn't matter. Now, and says who? Says Ben Becerra? No. For Sefer Torah is burning. Crazy. So you're allowed to take it also to a place, mefulash. What's mefulash? It's a place that's missing 1 lechi. You really need to, one's down, to take a Sefer Torah is allowed. Moshe taking foods and drinks is not allowed to take there. Right? For Sefer Torah, we allow 1 level more. 1 of the 2 l'chaim is gone. Okay. Well, the Gemara will attack this fiercely. But first of all, out of all 3 opinions, I understand why we're not so hot on B'Shamai. We never follow B'Shamai. B'Shamai become B'Silel in a Mishnah. Gemara Brochas, Daf Lamed. But if you're telling me B'Silel or B'Lezer, why don't we choose B'Silel? What did B'Silel say? Lechi oy koiro. Right? Why don't we talk in their terms? Says Tosfos. Look at Tosfos. Tosfos says Sholosh mechitzois v'shnei l'chayim. Right? Hashta. It's a 3rd Tosfos from the bottom of the page. Hashta haydem efal shlahachi umuki tavai lebedor B'Lezer. Now that we're explaining both Tanoim here, explaining them, Muki, establishing them according to B'Lezer, v'lo ba'alemem sholosh mechitzes v'lechi echad eino mefulash, v'lo lechi zeh mefulash. Meaning, basically, Torah is asking, excuse me, Why don't you follow Basilil? According to Basilil, one lechi is enough, right? According to Basilil, how does the perfect mover look like? According to Basilil, either koira or lechi. Leave koira alone. Lechi, one lechi is perfect, right? So lechi echad should be a good, enu mefulash, and ben besera beloy lechi. When you have zero lechi, Basilil on leker blazer minus one lechi, right? Why don't you explain that? Question mark. Why do you go to the blazer? Since we are, I don't know how old, we know we follow Basilil. So why did the Gemara Dafka want to follow Blazer and not Basilil? And then it would be more or less the same term, just different numbers. Basilil is perfect, amazing, Mahadrin, Manmadrin, Eiruv has one lechi, and that's Einu Mefulash, and the one who says Mefulash would say zero. Why don't you say that? Because it happens to be the halacha. Answers Tosfos, you know why? Comes the answer, comes Tosfos' answer. Hanushim the Sava, the below lechi klal, lo avishar ben beseira. The Avikarmelis. Wow. We believe that ben beseira would not allow you to actually take it to a place with three walls, because some people hold the three walls is not Rishus HaYochid, it's a Karmelis. And to move it to a Karmelis is too extremely lekula. And I'm not saying the end of Tosfos because that's something that's to do later. Lo adam chotzer shemarev is the Sefer. We'll see later a comparison between this Mishnah and the other one. I don't want to drive you crazy right now with the beginning. Basically, Tosfos says as follows. We don't want to follow Basilil here because something very funny is going to come out. If you follow Basilil, which requires one lechi, right? And then lechi could be really a wall, I told you. It's not only symbolic. It's enough as a fourth wall. But if you don't have that lechi, you only have three walls, so it's not Rishus HaYochid at all. It's a Karmelis. To take it to a Karmelis? No. That much we don't think Ben Beser would go that extreme to be Mako. That's our preferable answer. Rabbi is more machmir. So Rabbi best version is two lechayim, and the worst version is one lechi. One lechi, you still have a fourth wall, smaller for whichever reason, but that's good enough. That's the first pshat out of three. Very nice. Omar le Rabba, yeah. What? No, absolutely not. We see that we don't just have a blanket open check to allow any derabanan. Absolutely not. We see in the sugya that we're very, very careful how far do we go to be makel in the derabanans. And by the way, did you mean to say tiltul of muktzah? If we allow muktzah, we should also allow karmelis? Was that your question? The Tosfos in Daf Chav Daled Amud Beis going into Chav Hey Amud Aleph in the top of the page. Tosfos says a big yesod quoted in Mishnah Berurah, quoted in the Meforshim on the Rosh. Ein gzeros, ein ledamos gzeros derabanan zu lezu. You don't compare gzeros derabanan one to the other. Melocha Shliach al Gufa is way more machmir than muktzah. Muktzah is more than others. Each one to himself. Yeah. They're not each gzeros derabanan. We don't ask if this rabbanan is okay. Automatically the other rabbanan is okay. Wrong. I had a very fiery discussion with one of my Talmidim Yeshiva about it. That's not. We don't compare Gzeras D'Rabbanan. Each one is different. Each one has different levels of chumrah. Depends on context. Depends on situation. No. So therefore, each one to his own. And here too, we see that we're mamish working, inch by inch to allow only specific Reshus D'Rabbanan, not the other ones. So apparently, Karmelis is worse than Chotzer Shena Moreves. That's what I'm telling you. To answer a different way. So far, we allow chotzer that has four walls, 3 plus koiro, plus lechi, but something's missing. One koiro, one symbolic thing. But it's not the karmelis, because we have the fourth one. A karmelis is a whole new level. Karmelis is worse than chotzer shena mehuderes, shena moreves. So that's for how do you know we go? I don't know. In the balachidushay. We don't just allow any derabanan. It's not a freebie, not a chopshi. No, not all. Not Kibbesil, right? Yeah. Because he doesn't believe that halacha would allow that. Lamaisa, at the end we'll see it's going to be different, but at least as a hafemin, I think that's very good for the Gemara. Amar Rabba, thank you so much. Amar Rabba, two questions. Gimel mechitzas v'lechi echad. Mefulash karislay. Are you serious? What is mefulash, my friends? I gave you the English translation. Mefulash means open through and through. You call it mefula, or at least open one side. A true akiva, yeah. 3 mechitzas and 1 lechi means what? You really have 3 plus partial wall. You call that mefulash? It's not mefulash. It's not fully closed, but it's not completely open. There is a shtickle wall. It's not mefulash. Ve'oid, and another question. L'rabonon natzil tocha echlin umashkin. There are 2 ways to explain this question. I'm going to go with Rashi, which is simple. Don't realize what's going on is very, very weird. If you tell me, according to Rabbanon, according to Rablezer, you have 3 walls with 2 lechayim, that's great. If so, why only Sefer Torah? The whole word of this mission is to say, Sefer Torah, Sefer Torah. You're allowed to take it with money, with muktzeh. You're looking for some kind of kula. But if this is something which is perfect, because according to Rashi, I'm not saying the other Rishonim because it's going to be confusing. According to Rashi, we're talking about the chutzah that has Eiruv Chatzeros. It has 3 walls and it has shelachan. It can carry Ochel and Mashkin. It can also carry your children's dolls and everything there. It's not special for Sefer Torah. It's too good. We are looking even according to Rabbanu to some kind of kula, right? It's only Sefer Torah. Otherwise, well, what's a chiddush? Therefore, Rabbi wants. There's really more depth to the question, but I'm on purpose not saying it because I just wanted to focus on the Pashup Pshat. If we have time, I'll go back here. Bli neder. Elo Marabba, Pshat number 2, second Pshat, which is Rabbi's Pshat. Shtei mechitzas v'shnei lechayayin zer movay she'enu mefulosh. Shtei mechitzos. Listen to this. Opa, did you hear that? Shtei mechitzas. Imagine yourself a whole new street, a street which is mefulosh through and through, through and through. It's not nachshon, it's I alone. Yeah? I'm sorry, not everybody who lives in Ramat Beit Shemesh, yeah? In other words, it's not a cul-de-sac, it's not a dead end. There are 2 rows of houses, 2 lines of houses on both sides, which creates 2 mechitzas, right? And there are openings on both, the streets open on both sides, both ends, and there are shtei l'chayayin. Which shtei l'chayayin? One on one side of the street, and one on the other side of the street. That's a reality. Soon we're going to see how that plays, yeah? If you have 2 mechitzas, 2 rows of houses on both ends, v'shnei lechayayin, 1 lechi on one side, let's say the north, and another lechi, the other opening of the street, the other entrance of the street, zel mavay she'enu mefulash. Opa, you hear that? That's called a mavay she'enu mefulash. That's called a mavay which is not mefulash. Yeah, although it is open both sides, but because there's a koira on each side, that's good enough. Okay, it's not mefulash. And to there you can move the Sefer Torah. If you have 2 rows of houses, only 2 mechitzas, and 1 lechi on one side and no lechi on the other side, that is move mefulash. Yeah, let's say the street is open to I don't know, Rav Shach Street and Rav Steinman Street, whatever. The Rav Shach side has a lechi, the Rav Steinman side has no lechi, so it's missing 1 lechi. That's called Mavoi Mefulash, and who allows you to do that? Ben Beseira. Just have the picture. We're not explaining anything yet. Imagine you run. Yeah? Yoga. Yeah, you have 2 sides, 2 walls, 2 houses. Yeah, 2 rows of houses. It's supposed to have, ideally, 1 lechi on one entrance, another lechi on another entrance, a guard on each side. Yeah? And according to Chachamim, that's what you're allowed to move the Sefer Torah into. According to Ben Beseira, what's Ben Beseira? What's the math formula? Ben Beseira, Rabbanon minus 1 equals Ben Beseira. That's the formula, right? It's easy. So Ben Beseira says, okay, even if only one side has lechi, the other one doesn't, that's okay to move the Sefer Torah there. But so far, according to the 3 opinions we saw before, it doesn't work, right? We always needed 3 mechitzas. Here, 2 mechitzas are enough, right? Only 2 rows of houses with a lechi or lechi. Who's the Tan who believes in that? That takes us back, you know where? To Daf Vov, literally 100 dafim ago. Both Tanoim over here follow Rabbi Yehuda. What did Rabbi Yehuda say? The Tanya. Rabbi Yehuda has a very unique shita in Eruvin. Yeter al ken Omer Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said even more than that, what it says over there. I'll tell you in short before we continue to save you effort. I don't think we remember from Daf Vov, but in Daf Vov, Rashi says Mefurish outright. Rabbi Yehuda believes that it's enough for a Shus HaYochid to have 2 walls. That's it. Wow, not even 3. You have to have 2 walls, and all is good. Yeah, Altis Gate, you have two walls, and the only reason why you need the L'chaim is just for a symbolic heker to know where the border is. But if you have two walls, that's L'shus Yochid. Unbelievable. That's all Rabbi Yehuda Mefosher Rashi. And what does Rabbi Yehuda say? Let's put that into everyday application. Mi shesh lo shnei batim mishnei tzid l'shus harabim. Lucky man, a person he owns two houses facing each other, and in between his two houses, what is there? The street. He has two houses across the street from each other, and he wants the kinderlach and the eniklach to play in the middle. And he also wants, his dining room is in one house, and the bedroom is in the other house. He wants free access on Saturday. On Shabbos, he wants to move from one house to the other. To Rishus Harabim, says Rabbi Yehuda, actually, Me'ikar din, you're good. Why? Because I believe that once you're enclosed in an area between two mechitzas, your houses are the mechitzas, it's really okay, but it's dangerous. You may not know where the border is, right? Therefore, in order to remind yourself, which is mandatory, where to only remain in the inner square between your two houses, only in that area of Rishus Rabim. So what do? You have to make one lechi from one side, one lechi the other side of whichever house. Let's say the house on the right hand side. Make one lechi in the north, one in the south. Both borders. Or a beam, top beam, one and the other top beam and the other one. Both, and on both sides. Life is beautiful. Then you can carry everything inside. That is how Rabbi Yehuda believes. And people are walking through. It's really in the middle of the street. But because that middle of the street happens to be surrounded by two walls on both sides, which is really Shusay Yochid, and I have my security symbols of one koyer in, one koyer here, great. So that's Rabbi Yehuda. Amruloi, Chachamim were not happy with that opinion, and Malvin L'shus Harabim Bekach, they say, no way. You can't make Eiruv of Rishus Harabim that way, which means Rabbanan are telling him, you think the two mechitzas are Rishus Yochid? That's really so nice. Well, we don't think so. We don't think the two mechitzas are Rishus Yochid. You need at least three. However, let's now go back to how we implement Rabbi Yehuda into our Mishnah. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, there's a new name here. New, old, Pshat number 2, summary of Pshat number 2. Both Rabbanon and Beseira of our Mishnah follow Rabbi Yehuda. Okay. What does Rabbi Yehuda think? Rabbi Yehuda holds that two mechitzas are enough, with a koira here and a koira there, or koira, either or actually, right? And that's good, and that's mahadrin. That's great Rishus Yochid. So Chachamim say, Lo Aleinu, this rich guy has a Sefer Torah, of course. What do you think, right? And the Sefer Torah is burning. Miskin, two houses, one house is burning. The insurance will pay. No worries. But now, what will the Sefer Torah? Can I take the Sefer Torah in that middle area, or to that movli, right? That has two sides built and has how much? Depends. According to Chachamim, you can only move the Sefer Torah there if you have it properly, not closed, symbolically closed by one lechi here and one lechi there, koiro. Less than that, you can't. According to Rabbi Lezer, according to Beseira, what's with Beseira? Chachamim -1. Even if you only have one koiro, out of two, it's also okay. Now, one question was very well answered. That's why we call it mefulash. Ben Beseira says a mefulash. It is mefulash. Mefulash, a car can drive by. Mefulash in Hebrew means through and through. So the lingo is right. Ben Beseira says yes, it's mefulash because one side is completely open and the other side is symbolically closed. That's called mefulash. And Chachamim say no. Only one that's ain't a mefulash that has two beams. Only that one you can be metaltal into. But if you noticed, one of the questions was not answered. What was Rabbi's attack before? That if everything is so perfect, why only Sefer Torah? You should be able to move even books and Oichlin Mashkin there. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, 1 second. According to Rabbi Yehuda, when you have two houses on both sides, and you have one lechi here, it's absolutely fine. So why do Chachamim say only Sefer Torah can go there? Still difficult. We only passed the buck to Rabbi Yehuda. We didn't really answer the question, because in Rabbi Yehuda's own little world, which nobody agrees to, in Rabbi Yehuda's world, when you have two mechitzas, one lechi here, it's givaldik. Eidach HaRedis would give the extra there. So again, the question is, Chachamim are telling me, It says you can put there, right? No, you can take everything there, even your daughter's doll and your son's bike, and go to sleep and let them play there. Yeah, that's a biased question actually. Amar la Abaye, "Ledidach nami." I'm sorry, Rabba. How did you resolve the question? What?
Yeah, ew.
That is Eiruv. That's Eiruv, my friend. These two L'chaim are Eiruv. It's called Eiruv in Old French. Amar Baladidach nami, according to you too. La Rabbanon, according to Rabbanon, Natzel Tochach Mashkin. Within Rabbi Yehuda, if you have two walls and you have one lechi, that's called Me'urav Akiva. Very good. So why only Sefer Torah? What did you gain? That's how you attacked your colleague, but you also have the same problem. They were trying to grapple with what did Rabbi really think when he said that. Just giving you food for thought. I don't remember, I didn't see well enough for the answer. Elam Ravashi.
With terminology, man, now it's better if make full
In the answer. Elam Ravashi, third and last maskano, Mazel Tov. Elam Ravashi. Like this. Sholosh mechitzas velechi echad. And now we're back to Rabbi Lezer. What did Rabbi Lezer say? How many do you need? You need to have three walls. Yeah, two lines of houses and one side of the street closed, really closed, right? And what did Rabbi Lezer say? You need in the opening of the street, the entrance to the street. Ideally, well, two lechayim on both sides. Only that satisfies him, and then you know you can put that anything you want. However, what do Chachamim and Ben Beser talk about? Shalosh mechitzas velechi echad. Oh, that's Rabbanon. Rabbanon allow you to take the Sefer Torah from the burning house into a place of three mechitzas and one lechi, which is not the ideal kosher madrin situation. You are missing one lechi. Zemova she'enu mefulash. That the Chachamim Tanakama says, because it's a law aleinu burning Sefer Torah, of course we are meichel, and instead of requiring two l'chayim, we only require one. That's the kula we use for Sefer Torah. That's what we've been waiting for the whole time. And it's also true to call it eina mefulash. Why? Because there is a lechi on the side, which keilu is the beginning of a wall. It's not completely open. It's closed on one side, completely, and on the other side it has a lechi. That's not mefulash. Gimel mechitzas beloy lechi. Now, what about three mechitzas, all three sides? And that entrance that's supposed to have two lechayim has zero lechayim. Zemo mefulash. Oh, then Becerra says that even though you have zero lechayim in a place where you're supposed to have two, you know it's mefulash. It's open. It's completely open on that one side. It's not through and through, but it's open completely. No l'chayim, no koira, no nothing. And other things for sure you can't move there. Even according to Rablezer, that does require two l'chayim in order to bring stuff over there. That is for other things which are not Sefer Torah. There you need two l'chayim. For Sefer Torah, one lechi is good enough. That's the kula of the Sefer Torah. Now, I kept promising you that I will mention the other pshat. According to many Rishonim, Ochlin and Mashkin are not stam anything your daughter's doll and your son's bike. Ochlin and Mashkin is to do with the next Mishnah actually and the one after. When we talk about Ochlin and Mashkin, we're going to see in the next Mishnah today or Motzei Shabbos what happens when Lo Aleinu the house is on fire and Mor Nogel Alocha. There's food in the house. We're going to see in the next Mishnah how much food you're allowed to save. It's also limited. The amount of food you're supposed to, Lo Aleinu, save from the fire is limited. And also there, we're going to see in the next Mishnah what kind of place are you allowed to move the food into. Can't move to Shusarabim, and clearly not to the small voy mefulash and mefulash. There we use the terms chotza morevis or ena morevis. Yeah? Which means, oichlin umashkin, according to Tanakama, you can move it only to chotza morevis, properly kosher lemehadrin. Only when there's an Eiruv in our language. Ben Becerra there also is more lenient in oichlin umashkin, and he allows you to move it to chotza she'ena morevis. What's animal revis? Animal revis means it's a big mistake. People today think Eiruv means if there's those strings around town or not. It's also the main part of the Eiruv is when there's a bread in one shul, that is, basically kilu, the whole community lives over there. Everyone's meshutef in the bread, right, in one chotzer. Oh, chotzer she'enu ma'oreves means the chotzer is well closed. It has all the mechitzas all around, but the bread wasn't shared. That part of the Eiruv wasn't done. That's chotzer she'enu ma'oreves. Yeah. So the Gemara keeps saying over here. Here we're talking about Mova She'enu Mefulash. We're talking about the case where the structure is not halachically okay. Something missing in the structure, meaning what? Either one lech is missing or two lechaim is missing. Because if you want to tell me that the structure is perfect and good, and all we're missing is just the bread in one house, that's called chotzer shen moreves. So because the Mishnah there used a different lotion to our Mishnah, must be it's different. Let's summarize. A Sefer Torah, you're allowed to move to a place which is not just there's no Eiruv, but also there's, or maybe there is or there isn't Eiruv. That's also a Mechlokes Rishonim. But the Chiddush is it's missing the structure of a Chotzer Moreves. It's missing one lechi or two lechayim. Food, you're not allowed to move to such a place. Food is less important than Sefer Torah. Food, you're only allowed to move to a place which the structure is great. Elamai, it's missing just the Eiruv Darabana. You see, Akiva, it's very delicate. Each one we're makel in the situation. Let's just start with the next Mishnah. Motzei Shabbos. Again, I'm sorry. I hope it's okay. 8:15. Hope it's fine. 8:15 till 9. I finish Shabbos Abonim. 8:15 to 9 is the only time I can do it. Yeah, I mean, unless nobody's going to be here. Yeah, you'll be there. You hope. Yeah. Yes, Tigvam. Dear neighbor. Yeah. Oh, neighbors. Neighbors are loyal to each other. Yeah.
One question here.
Very good. Tarech of David, great memory. And Echinami, very good. Very, very good. Now, at the Mitzkon of the Gemara, we do allow a place which has no L'chaim at all. Very good. Excellent. That's a Chiddush. Yes, we do allow that kind of Carmelis. Nice. What Taisa says, the Gemara didn't want to say at the beginning, now the Gemara is forced to say it. The Gemara didn't want to start with that kind of matzah, but at the end of the day, with no choice, we are saying it. Very good. Shkoich, amazing. Okay, I wouldn't start the next Mishnah, Bezel Hashem. The next Mishnah and the following Gemara's are easier, and also we're going to see this week, Bezel Hashem, the mile of buying food for Shabbos, or next Shabbos, all that is coming. All the sugyas of spending money for Shabbos food. Tomorrow, go spend as much. Based on what we're going to learn with Hashem next week. Thank you very, very much for coming, for listening, for being here. We'll be zoichet to Shabbos me'en al. Thank you to people at Torah Anytime. Thank you to Me'an Lo'ez, our beautiful hosts, and people at Torah Anytime.